Hi guys, welcome back to another video where today, something a bit different. Gonna be explaining the Cavern Chronicles, which, to summarize, a lot of chaos, a lot of complicated stuff, um, and yeah, kind of been happening for like 6 years now. And I haven't really mentioned it that much on the channel, other than when I mentioned about the uh um machinima thing that released. So basically, I'm doing a full timeline. So, I guess without further ado, let's get started. There will be random drawings and stuff throughout the video. So yeah. So, it started in. Also, this is scriptless, so I'm just completely improvising this. So if I randomly stop talking for a bit, my brain is processing. Anyway, so it all started in 2020 with where me and a friend go check out his channel. It's Voidbound Productions. He does a lot of good stuff. Um, uh, Basically, during quarantine. We ended up making a Minecraft map, and that was named the Cavern Chronicles, which was named after a world we used to go on, which I named the Cavern Chronicles, because I decided I did a book based on it. I didn't really get that much into writing it. I wrote like a few lines, but basically, all you really need to know about that is that's where the name came from, because it had ravines, and the book featured cows headbutting us for some reason. Yeah, I don't really know where that bit came from, but yeah. So, back to the map. The map were pretty simple. You start in a little cave. There's like a little kingdom around you, and there is a um like a like a like a draw. Is it really? No, it's not really a drawbridge. But like an entrance with like a creeper face. I will actually get that. I probably should have got that ready before. I will go do that now because I've got models of them and stuff. I will just be a second. Alright. This is gonna get mod rock everywhere, but who cares? Alright. So this isn't exactly what it was. This is just a future iteration of it. But basically, oh, let me just get the light on that. This is kind of what it looked like. I made this quite a while ago, so it's kind of faded a bit. But yeah, sort of like that. I probably will get some of the other mod rock stuff out. But yeah. So then, after you leave the cave, you go in there. You enter the tomb, which is very important for later. Oh, actually, I completely forgot. In the cave, there is a tombstone, which is basically the only bit of lore in the map, which says, "To Jerry, killed by bad puns." That's right, to Jerry. Not Jerry or Terry, to Jerry. Yeah, so he was killed by bad puns. So yeah. Then in the tomb, there's a few random mini games, like a gravel trap. There's like a falling trap, and there's another gravel trap. Oh wait, no, yeah. Then there were just like zombies and stuff. Find the lever and some parkour. Really not that much in the first iteration, but then we get to version 2 of it, where we kind of remade it slightly. We improved the starting area, and then there was, what was there? Oh yeah, we basically gave it an actual ending and changed a few things around, um, including um, a random tomb prisoner who will be very important for later. Um, Spoiler alert, let me go get the cool drawing. Boom! Anyway, so, then, when you go back in the tomb and you've completed the 3 puzzles, you enter, well, it unlocks the door to a random floating hill with a rainbow bridge. The rainbow bridge I don't think comes back, but the hill, or as it gets renamed to, it becomes very important. And then, so you go in there, and you fight none other than Bad Puns, the killer of Tajiri. So yeah, you survive that, after fighting a ghast in a very enclosed area. And then after that, you escape into the Nether, and that was basically the end of the map. Alright, so I accidentally closed the recording, so we're starting this again, kind of. Anyway, so continuing on from where we were. So, 2020, obviously the map happened, and then after that, not really too much happened. Other than a certain Let's Play world that got pretty crazy, and it got turned into a fish, and the corruption. That's definitely going to be a talk for another day, but the important thing is, well, technically there was something that happened in 2019 before all this, but we'll get into that when it gets canonized. So, then we get into the original machinima, I guess. Because in 2021, Voice Production asked me if I want to work with him to make a series based on TCC, because there was so much lore there to use. A single tombstone. Anyway, so, from that, I think stuff got included to do with oh wait, no, not aliens, that's later. But basically, that's when the first, as I said, the first machinima started, and I will just be a second. I am just finding it, because I've got all of these in a billion Google Docs. Where is it? I'll go get another drawing. There we go. That one will be important for a little bit. Well, in a bit. Where is it? Wait, I found it. Alright. Yes. The Cavern Chronicles, Chapter 1, The Betrayer. You'll never guess who this is. Anyway, so, I'm obviously not going to read through the entire thing, because that would take a while. I think last time I did, when I was explaining TCC before to someone, it kind of took, like 2.5 hours, so this should be fun. Anyway, to start off, I will read the starting little text bit. There was a legend of great... Oh, wait, I messed it up, damn it. Anyway, there was a legend of a grand treasure that resided in a splinter in the earth, lost to time. Many sought out this treasure, but all perished in the process, until one day a discovery was made. A great door was uncovered by a group of excavators in an open plain, but to this day it remains jammed shut. Okay, I'm going to be making fun of myself so much in this, but a group of excavators. It's fun looking back at these. Anyway, so after the group of excavators uncovered this door, which you'll never guess what it is. Okay, I just realized with the lighting you probably didn't see anything with the tomb again. Anyway, so after that we we run into our main characters, Terry, who is named after Tajeri, Barry, who is named after Bad Puns, Lucy, who was completely new, and Matt, who was completely new. And basically, it all goes. They're all just talking, and yeah. But then there's a news report saying that there's going to be a meteor hitting the Earth, which obviously isn't good. So they go into the shelter which they have in the basement, which is where we get into some very funny behind the scenes lore. Basically, when we were because we kind of slightly started recording this for the Minecraft Machinima, because Voidis Productions does Minecraft Machinimas, and I helped with a few of the early ones. But basically, while we were recording in the basement, we had a few mods on because we were filming this. We were filming it in like a Minecraft version of London. And basically, what happened was I was looking through spawn eggs and I found a London bus spawn egg, and I was like, "Ooh, I wonder what this does." And then I accidentally spawned a London bus in the basement, and I couldn't get rid of it, so I had to bury it. I buried the London bus and built a table over it. It was hilarious. And oh my goodness, there are so many out of context quotes from there. I didn't think to grab them before filming, so oh well. Anyway, so after that, they all go into the shelter / basement. And yeah, there's a countdown. There's an ominous voice. What is the ominous voice in here? Oh wait, no, the ominous voice is not here. Never mind, that's later. So yeah, the meteor hits. I'm pretty sure the entirety of London is flattened, which isn't too great, but this gets a lot more unhinged, this version. So yeah, they all somehow survive. I don't know how. So they all get out. Terry's like, "Oh no, the house is gone." And then Barry's pointing out that the entirety of London's gone. But they're all helped out. I forgot to mention there's also a dog named Oreo, although sometimes it's Milo. It is Oreo, but it was originally Milo, and there were kind of an argument on what the name should be. I think it's Oreo though. So yeah, then we get into they're just chilling. Oh, Matt's. Oh no, that's not Matt's car. That's Terry's car. Terry's really not having a good day. This is more of a reaction video. So yeah, they all get into a hotel, probably quite far away, considering, as I said, London were basically flattened. So yeah, then they all get out the hotel and they head to the crater. Oh yeah, in the hotel, Terry finds his dog, which is obviously great. So yeah, they enter the meteor crash site. They go to the meteor. Terry hears a strange voice saying, "He who finds the treasure holds the power of the universe. Find 10 fragments and become a god," which is a pretty good pitch sale. So interesting. I didn't realize it said 10. That definitely gets decreased. So obviously they obviously run away after all this. Terry grabs the fragment that were in the shard, and then they run away. They get onto a bus, not a bus, a bridge, and Terry gets hit by a meteor. So yeah, that kind of happened. So yeah, you'd probably think that would be fatal, but unfortunately for logic and reasoning, he somehow survived. Probably the shard. But yeah, so then well, originally it was going to be a film, but then it got changed into a series, and it kind of changes between that a bunch. But that would be the end of episode 1, Terry just getting hit by a meteor. So then, after he somehow survives, the next episode starts off in a not the hotel, the host. Oh wait, no, it is a hotel. They don't even bring him to a hospital, just a hotel. What? So yeah, so he kind of just gets better, and then the shard starts glowing, and the entirety of the hotel is disintegrated, but somehow the main four survive. So yeah, that went crazy. Then it gets even more unhinged because after all that, the dog comes back as a ghost and starts berating Terry. And that was the last bit we were rid of it. And then nothing really happened for another year. So we're just Terry getting berated by a ghost dog. And then, yeah. I think there was actually a plan for a series earlier than this, now that I think about it. Where it's going to be a three part thing. Going over before the events of the map. The events, like, literally just before the map and basically after the map. Because this is where we get into a very important part about Tcc. The Betrayer Prophecy. Which was... Sure, it was based off Targaryen bad puns, but also Undertale the Betrayer. Great song, and it's only better because of all that. But yeah, so anyway, a major plot point comes from an Undertale fan game. Yeah, there's a lot of random inclusions of stuff later on, but we'll get into that in a bit. So, now what I just told you about was V0 for the map and V1 for the original machinima. But now we get into I've got some of the original writings for V2.1. That's right. So, episodes and stuff. So in terms of V2.1, it kind of gets confusing because after this, however, I will try to keep this decently concise. So, so after a year of basically doing nothing with V2, you know, actually, I'll grab a different drawing for now. You know what? Okay, you kind of saw something important there, but here's something even more important. 5 black holes. Oh wait, no, it's 6 black holes. We'll get into that in a sec. So, basically a year after we kind of just abandoned what's it called? V1. Voidbound Productions came back and said, since no one is working on it, do I just want to work on it on my own? 1 sec, I'm going to sneeze. So, obviously I accepted, and then this is where we get into some ridiculous stuff. Especially considering I'm not very fast at writing, and I was trying to write a full season. So yeah. I mean, it took me like a year to do like 4 episodes. Yeah, I really need to get better at finding motivation. But yeah, so forgetting about that, this is where we get into the Cavern Chronicles V2.1. So, in terms of V2.1, I'm trying to think how to lay this out, because by the fact it's 0.1, you can probably guess that I'll just do it based on this for now, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff later on. So, I am definitely going to go through the script, but actually, I can just go through the script anyway. So to start off, where do I start off? Okay, so I'll just start off here. So, there was another opening text thing, which I will read out. It's a lot longer, but yeah. Millennia ago, there was a land of peace and prosperity, where all sorts of people travelled far and wide to arrive and thrive. However, all great ages of peace must come to an end. It arrived without warning, no motive, no reason, just malice. Great vessels the size of mountains plundered the age of peace into ashes, as they let loose their rain of embers. It didn't stand a chance. Few survived, and nothing remained of the city. They descended on the once great city, and began to ruin it with their advanced lasers, and cracked the earth. These foul creatures descended into their colossal trench, and did nothing but hide a box that contained the power of the gods. But as soon as they arrived, they vanished without a trace. However, 300 years later, the treasure was found and split into 5 pieces. 3 were held in dungeons scattered throughout the land, 1 was lost to the cosmos, and the final piece was guarded in an impenetrable fortress at the crater the chest was found in. However, still hundreds of years later, the location of these shards has been lost to time. Until... Dun dun dun. So, let's get into this. So, it starts off with the main 4 again. We've got Terry, Barry, Lucy, and Matt. And this is kind of where it gets very, very important in terms of stuff. So, in this version, they've just finished, I assume, college? Yeah, they just finished like college or 6th form or whatever. And similar to before, they're going home. Terry has a dog. There's an argument about whether it's called Oreo or Milo, and we combine them into Arlo. So yeah. I'm kind of just chilling at home. There's the stuff on the telly again about a meteor. Oh wait, no, that bit's not yet. Oh yeah, we got this amazing line. Welcome back to your daily news show, where today we will be discussing how deadly pigeons actually are. Oh wait, and then 30 minutes later, it cuts to, and that is how we are secretly being infiltrated by cabbages. So yeah, unfortunately, that rant was kind of stopping the important news from being said, which was that a meteor is going to land in 31 minutes. However, that news was sent 30 minutes ago. So yeah, a meteor is about to land. So yeah, and then this is where we get into the ominous voice, who I still have very little idea of who it is. In the future incarnations of this, I have a few ideas, and if I remember, I will get back to that. So, the meteor lands, doesn't flatten half of London, although I don't. I'm still not sure. Okay, no, I think this version does take place in London. I'm saying that in quotation marks. So yeah, oh yeah, there's this epic line. Is there a bus under the floor or something? Amazing. Anyway, so they all get up. The telly's still working somehow, and apparently the meteor sent a shockwave around the world, which will be very important for later. And I'm pretty sure the original, when I asked for ideas, I'm pretty sure Voidy's originally suggested aliens, which is kind of where this version ends up. But yeah, you know what? We'll get another drawing. Why not? What should we get? You know what? This is season 2, but who cares? It's also technically not this version, but drawings. Anyway, I think it's raining outside. Oh no. Anyway, so after all that, they leave the house. They and they again go to the meteor crash site where 2 guards are talking, and then they are probably straight up killed. So yeah, then oh yeah, distant scream. Yeah, I don't think it ends too good for them. So yeah, then Barry almost gets shot because here come Jesse and Daniel with guns. And they're also at the crater for whatever reason. Well, actually, I guess it's a meteor crater. Some people, well, I'd assume in reality most people would run away, but there definitely would be those few people who just run straight towards the danger. So yeah, then they all try and escape. However, eventually they're cornered where the meteor is, and while basically being at gunpoint, Terry decides, how can I get out of here? What would be the most logical way to get out of this situation? He straight up punches the meteor, and then there's a giant sky beam, and then everyone disappears. And that is the end of episode 1. So yeah, then we get into episode 2, The Storm, part 2. The first episode was just The Storm. So, then, it starts with Matt seeing a strange figure in a white void, who will be very important for later, basically just warning him not to do stuff and stuff. So yeah, and also says don't trust him, and then doesn't say who him is. So yeah, then Lucy and Matt wake up in a forest, and Terry wakes up in the crater with Barry also there. And Terry now has the it says crystal in here, but they'll eventually just be called shards. And yeah, so everyone's wandering around, trying to figure out what's going on. And then Barry touches the crystal, and a giant red wave goes around the entire world, which will be incredibly important for later. Because... wait, actually, does that get added yet? I'm not sure. I don't remember. You know, who cares? Then, so the red wave is very important because basically, it turns everyone into basically the equivalent of like metahumans in a way. Well, based on most of the things that come out of it, you either turn into a metahuman or a furry. So, yeah. Then, when we get into okay, we'll get into that later, but nothing seems to happen afterwards, other than the crystal glowing red when he touched it, and blue when Terry touched it. So they're like, what in the world just happened? And then, so they're like, let's go back to the house and see if we can figure anything out. So they all run away. And Terry and Matt dodge the giant red wave by hiding behind a tree. Well, they seem to dodge it. So yeah, they hear strange tree sound, let's go, and continue wandering around. Barry and Terry continue wandering around. There's news about the meteor. What else is there? Oh yeah, there's several other meteors coming to land, and it's gonna destroy the planet apparently, which is obviously not very good. So yeah, then Terry and Barry run all the way back to the meteor crater. And yeah. Oh yeah, then Lucy and Matt are attacked by tree people. So yeah, the tree people attack them, and then Lucy glows green green, and gets a dragon, specifically a green phantom dragon, who I have a drawing of. I should probably get the drawings up when something important happens. Where are they? Somewhere around here. I would put it under the camera, however it's a tight fit. So I know it's somewhere around here. There it is. Okay, ignore the red wave. It's kind of hard to do this because it don't exactly fit. But we have Echo. I like Echo. There's some spoilers and stuff. And Dark Alicorn Flicker. Anyway, back to this. You know, we'll get another one. Let's see what other ones we can get that won't spoil too much. What should we do? You know, let's get one of the ones from in here. Let's try and find one that's not too crazy. You know, I'll just put this one back up. It'll be important for a bit. So, basically, what happens after that is, so after Lucy gets a dragon, the tree people, tell them about how, they got turned into tree people by the red wave. So yeah. However, it does have a different name, which we will get into when it comes up. So yeah. So then yeah, Terry and Barry are back at the crater, and then they get attacked by zombies, because of course they do. Barry gets an epic sword. It's a red sword, and it looks epic. It's this sword here, also known as the Betrayer Blade. So yeah. Yeah, the Crimson Blade, let's go. which actually, I did some cards on it, and there's a card for the Crimson Blade. So yeah, Barry fights a bunch of zombies while Terry tries to figure out how to stop the end of the world. Then a giant rift appears in the sky, because of course it does. Then Matt and Lucy are trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, they all just see the skybeam and they're like, oh no, Matt glows yellow. That's right, they're the Microsoft logo. No, and Matt disappears through a portal and ends up in the white void with the strange figure, who's being ominous. Lucy jumps in and Matt makes a portal out of there. Unfortunately, rather than appearing in a place that would be helpful, they appear in space on the meteor, flying down, and somehow survive. So yeah, then Barry's fighting the zombies while Terry's figuring out what to do, and then Matt and Lucy dive down with the dragon from the meteor into the crater. It's epic. Somehow the meteors haven't landed yet. I don't know how. But yeah, there's an epic battle. Matt gets a stick. And Terry, you'll never guess what he does to stop the giant skybeam. He punches the meteor and makes another skybeam. And then the rift gets destroyed along with all the meteors. And then the zombies are finished off, and to end the episode, they see 3 beacons shoot up in the distance. 1 grey, 1 dark blue, and 1 green. In a triangle around the crater. Let's go. So then, we get on to episode 3, The Beacons. So yeah, they've all headed back. They're just packing up to go on an adventure. And that is where Terry sees Arlo at the bottom of the stairs going into the basement. He's like, no, don't go there. There's a bus. That will keep popping up. And before they go, Barry sees the ominous figure drop a sword in front of him. It's a ghost sword. So yeah, they all leave. Roll intro. Then they all head on their adventure. They're wandering around. And then we get into interior government building. My favourite government building. The government building. Where we meet Charles Cliveson. Who's talking to a scientist, and well, firstly they're mentioning about how they sent a group of hikers to figure out what's going on. Spoiler alert, those hikers got turned into tree people. So yeah, obviously they disappeared. They got photos of the giant energy beam, and yeah. There's also something else. Wonder what that could be. You'll never guess. So yeah, then the gang reach a giant lake, which they can't really get across. So Matt tries to make a portal across. But from that portal come out Jesse and Daniel, who now have powers. Jesse has wings and something. Oh yeah, wings and a big sword, and Daniel is surrounded by electricity and has a scythe made of electricity. So then there's an epic battle. Jesse and Lucy have like a sky fight. Everyone else is fighting Daniel and is getting absolutely destroyed. So So yeah, Lucy gets knocked out the sky and almost drowns, but unfortunately for Death, the power of friendship exists. And then Echo dies and goes into and like transfers power to Lucy, and then she becomes part dragon, and has wings, and is overpowered. And Matt almost dies. Barry's about to... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, Matt almost dies. Terry's about to... No. So yeah, Matt almost dies. Daniel's about to get the shard, but then Terry grabs the shard and goes Super Saiyan, basically. And then there's an epic battle. And basically Terry and Lucy fight them off while Matt, somehow still alive, creates a portal out there. To get out. And then they get out. And yeah. I just realised I don't... we're going to get a picture of Jesse and Daniel, but I don't think there's a drawing of them yet. Anyway, so, because this is a very much ongoing project. So yeah, then they all escape after almost dying. Matt sees the ominous figure again. And then, after camping, they head off, and then they reach... Wait for it! The tomb! So, after they reach the tomb, we get into a post-credit scene, because the episode ended, where we get Charles Cliveson and the scientist again talking about how a strange message was received from this very building that they believe came from the future. However, luckily, they've made a portal. And what's even better is the message didn't come from the future, it came from another reality. So they casually made an interdimensional portal by accident. You know, as you do. So yeah, the scientist presses the button, and then a strange figure comes out. It says strange figure, but it's the one from the White Void, which will have a name in a sec. But then we get on to episode 4, Into the Tombs. Achoo. Anyway, so they all reach the tomb. They're trying to figure out how to enter. They press a button. They go in, accidentally step on a pressure plate, and then they fall for 10 days. That was a joke. They don't fall for 10 days. But everyone falls on the ground except Lucy, because Lucy has wings. So yeah. Then they all get into the tomb. And they see a door. That has a slot to put something in, surrounded by 3 gold blocks. So yeah, Barry glows red and punches the door, because punching stuff really seems to help in this series. Except this time, because nothing happens. So they try to figure out where to go. They see an entrance and another way that can go. However, there is a mysterious hooded figure hiding and watching them. And their eye is glowing dark purple. And then they dash away. That's right, we're dealing with one of Santa's reindeers. Anyway, however, we do get... This is a very important character who I will find an image of, because there's definitely images of her. Alright. Ignore the giant stone thing with the cool sword. Ignore the wings and the really long hair. That's just a symptom of getting overpowered powers. Because this is where we get into... Actually, wait one sec. After they go into the room and run across things, Barry sees the person again. The door closes, and this is where we meet one of probably the best character, other than technically another character and another character, Kyra, or Kira, or as some people have pronounced it, Kyra. But yeah, who is way too overpowered. I will point out again the overpowered form here. And then so yeah, so after they fight off a bunch of zombies, Kyra randomly teleports behind them, or maybe just appears. It's unclear. She can mildly float though. And no matter what, that is canon, mild floating. No matter what anyone says, and corrects them about it being 1015 years old. I don't know if that number stays, but yeah. So then randomly jump scares them, everyone's confused. They all go to the other puzzle, decide to look out for stuff this time. Then Kyra appears in front of them, mildly floating. And is like, ha, funny meeting you here. Oh. And this is the best part. Well, I say best part because it's not best part, but you get what I mean. Anyway, the funny thing is, on the part where she introduced herself, I spelt the name wrong in terms of who's saying it. So it says name's Kyra, but I spelt it Kyra. So yeah, then Kyra steps on the pressure plate and they all have to run because a bunch of gravel's about to fall on them. So yeah, then they find a maze. They go on the maze. Barry separates from the group for whatever reason. Gets jumped by Kyra, who then throws Barry into a dark abyss. And Terry and Lucy and Matt are wandering around. There's a montage of them wandering around. Then Barry wakes up in the endless pitch black void. There's several endless pitch black voids in here, but yeah. Then we get into they're talking. Kyra's like, it's not my fault my social skills are bad. I haven't had human contact in 1,000 years. And Barry's like, oh, sorry to hear about that. So yeah, then Barry mentions about a white void, and Kyra's like, that's impossible unless. So yeah, then Kyra says the line, let's just say we have an imposter among us. Then Terry, Lucy, and Matt find a secret room, which is the only room that has a random hole. And they find a diary. First entry is dated 1020. Then it cuts back to Barry and Kyra. Kyra's like, my room's getting mugged, so I kind of need to leave. And just abandons Barry in the endless pitch black void. Which I will just say is called the Betrayer Void. The white void is a Betrayer Void, but it's a different Betrayer Void. Because multiverse and stuff. So then Barry hears a prophecy. Now this part technically probably doesn't happen in V2.1. However, it's very important. Alright, so the ominous creature comes up to him and says, long ago there was a prophecy of death and betrayal, that one would strike down their kind with a promise of infinite power. keep a track on infinite. That's very important. That's not part of it, but yeah. However, when this came to fruition, it failed with endless power out of reach of the culprit. Detained, but every time fate is escaped, it catches up. You cannot escape your fate in full capital letters. Anyway, there's also 3 exclamation marks and an ellipses. Then Barry's like, well, if I can't escape my fate, power of friendship, mate. Summons the Betrayer Blade / Crimson Blade and somehow gets out of the endless pitch black void. And runs to save them because he thinks Kyra's about to murder them. But no, Kyra's just giving them a story time of a backstory about how she's been in there for 1,000 years. I wonder why. Anyway, so yeah, she said she can help them, gives them instructions to get out the maze. Then they exit. Unfortunately, the path's blocked because of the gravel, but Kyra appears and, I quote, dark purple... Oh, wait, no. Dark purple... Wait. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Kyra minigun dark purple blasts the gravel, and it just evaporates. So, yeah. They get to the final room. Lucy flies over arrows and turns the arrow trap off. Then, after that, Kyra jump scares them again and says that this one is quite simple. You simply have to tear a hole in the fabric of reality. Insert maniacal laughter. And then she proceeds to tear a hole in the fabric of reality. So yeah. And that is when we get into something very important. The name of the game, the Cavern. Also known as the Hollow Mountain. Also based off the random hill from the thing. Because Kyra's based on the Tomb Prisoner, kind of. So yeah, before we go in, Kyra says the last one in is a floor tile. And then when no one hears her, she says last one in is eviscerated from reality. So yeah, then they all jump in, and that's when they meet the Cavern. I'm just imagining Jack Black saying that. Anyway, so this is where they reach the cavern. Another endless pitch black void. Well, actually, it's not endless. It's not. Well, yeah, it's not. It's not technically endless. And it's not necessarily pitch black. It's more blue. And I would get it out. However, it's in a box, and a bunch of stuff is on top of that box. So yeah, just know blue portals, random bridges, darkness. Oh, and a bottomless pit. That is definitely bottomless, and definitely doesn't have weird side effects if you fall into it. So yeah. Then they all wander around the cavern for a little bit. Kyra shows them a portal, tells them to get a lever because the lever is gone in the tomb. So yeah, then after that, they alright, I just had to stop the recording for a sec then, but I'm back. So, then after being told about the lever, they go into a portal where they see themselves. Specifically, this is reality 48, cos multiverse. So they see themselves, and Kyra's not there for reasons. And basically, stuff happens. They get the lever. Terry fires a giant energy blast with the shard, and Kyra's like, bruh, you had that the entire time. And then, after that, They go back through the portal. Kyra, in that reality, is kind of presumed to have killed everyone after that, which, yeah. Ooh. Then after that, when everyone gets out the portal, they're like, why didn't you tell us it were a multiverse portal? And Kyra's like, I did, mate. Then they all get back. They pull the lever, and then Kyra betrays them all, and weird stuff happens. Kyra's like, see ya! And then leaves, taking the shard from the tomb. The beacon fades away, and they're like, what have we done? And then there's a post-credit scene with Charles Cliveston and the scientist again, and the strange figure. And ultimately, the strange figure incinerates the scientist and most of the lab. Glows dark yellow and says, I'm the betrayer. Oh. Right. And then we get into episode 5, which I didn't really get too much in. Basically, they're like, oh no, what have we done? Barry's not doing too good about it. Then they go back to the city where they meet a guy named Simon who starts glitching after he runs away. And then this is where we get into a very cool character who changes like 50 times throughout it. But yeah, where's the drawing? Where is it? It's somewhere around here. I organised these. Why are they not organised? Oh, found it. This is where we run into Era Void. And funnily enough, the place they're in is the Era Void. So yeah, this is Era Void. Who, if I get onto a bunch of the stuff, here's some early drawings. They were very much, well, to be honest, there's mainly 3 inspirations for them, which is Fatal Error Sans, Fatal Error Sonic, and the Spot from Into the Spider-Verse. You can probably spot where all those come in, pun intended. But yeah. Then after that, there would have been some stuff. However, it was kind of at this point, Voidies came to me on Discord and said, it might be a bit hard to do this on a Minecraft machinima, and especially with what all the other stuff we're planning. Oh wait, no, that's not yet. I just realised that's not yet, because while that is the end of what I writ of the scripts of the still V1. I still haven't got to V2.1. So let's go into what the other stuff would have happened. There's a map there, some other stuff. I'll get into that in a sec. These are not the... Well, actually, no, these are more the original titles, actually, now I think about it. But yeah, so then they'd go to another tomb in the mountains, which I do have a mod rock thing of. However, it's massive, and it would be very awkward to get out. Anyway, they get into a tomb filled with Skulk, because remember, this is a Minecraft machinima. That does get changed later. But yeah, they run in, which is where we get into these two. Then episode 8. I don't remember what the Grand Lie is. Living Catacombs. That's where they run into a another tomb. However, there's people living in this one, and it's on a not a meteor. That would be crazy. It has a volcano that's active and that erupts. So yeah, then they go back to the crater. They enter a room, and this is where the betrayer prophecy happens, and Barry kills Terry, just like Bad Puns killed Tajiri. So that's what this one is. Well, actually, no, that one's technically not Barry, but we'll get into that in a sec, because it's very similar. But yeah, then we get on to what would have been season 2, where he takes over the world, basically. Then the Hollow Mountain, they go back into the cavern, where they go to the underworld, I guess. There's a skulk thing, toxic forest, entangled, a glitch in time, system failure, fatal error, Irrevoid, because originally called fatal error. However, I changed that because I want a placeholder name, because when two names from the inspiration are fatal error, yeah. Then there's a bunch of stuff, and the first two finales were purely based off Undertale stuff, because we got the Betrayer, and then the final episode of season 2 is an enigmatic encounter. So yeah, then Terry defeats Barry, and not Terry. Terry dies. Matt defeats Terry. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, Lucy just dies in the third tomb in this version, which is, yeah, not great. Don't know why I did that. Anyway, so yeah, then there's season 3, where there's a bunch of random stuff, with planets and stuff. The Rings of Saturn sounds like a great Doctor Who episode. Bunch of stuff. Aliens attack. Matt gets superpowers. I probably have a drawing of that, because I drawed a bunch of the endings to the different V's, which I will get into what the V is in a sec. Oh yeah. Alright. Let me get the light. So yeah, we've got we got V0 there. Which is, yeah. V1, which is basically what we're on about, but I guess that's what would have happened in V1. V2, Matt going Super Saiyan and fighting a bunch of stuff. And yeah, like, it's kind of where V0.1 started, because the only reason I separate them is because there was a very big change. Mainly that I completely kind of changed this and went slightly differently. Which is where we get into V2, which is technically the only really ongoing one. So yeah, but so far I'll only go through the stuff made during this time. So there was all the stuff. Well, it were mostly the same. The storm, the beacons, into the tombs, error in reality, the Skulk one, which does say Skulk right now, but it does get changed later on. And then what's different is Quest of the Depths, which is where they... Oh, also Lucy doesn't die. But Quest of the Depths is... Yeah, Quest of the Depths is where there's like an ocean area, and they meet sea people. I did not, which it took me until like last week to actually draw what the sea people look like. Where is the book? It's somewhere. Had it around here. Oh, found it. Yeah, so here are the sea people. They are based off a fish Minecraft skin I had in the Let's Play world, which I will definitely do a video on because somehow I remember it and I've basically done fan fiction of it. Anyway, so then Lucy tames a sea monster and stuff, and then there's the Living Tomb, where main difference is Kyra's parents, I guess, are there. Oh, I just realised. Oh, I didn't realise that they were there. So yeah, then the Betrayer, full on epic battle. However, the difference with V2.2 is that firstly, Barry doesn't become the Betrayer. He breaks the Betrayer prophecy, and the strange figure is actually a alternate reality version of Matt, who is the Betrayer, which is, I will get into more. But yeah, it's also revealed that Kyra is also known as the original Betrayer, which I will get into in a sec, because I will definitely do like a regular timeline version of this, because that'll make it more easier to understand. But yeah, basically it ends with Betrayer Matt killing Terry, which is obviously not too great. So yeah, that's what this one is. And Terry falls into a hole. So yeah, he's definitely dead. So then we got some other ones of Fatal Error. Not Fatal Error, Iravoid. The Warden. The Serpent. Betrayer Matt getting the shards. The epic battle and stuff. And this is where we get onto some Season 2 stuff. Oh my goodness, the time is 1111. Let's go. So, where is it? Oh wait, I can just go onto the main Google Docs. Let's go. Right. So, this is where we get into Season 2, which isn't as fleshed out. So similar to from before, basically what happens is Betrayer Matt takes over the world. And wait one sec, I'm just trying to find one of the drawings. Where is it? There it is. Anyway, so yeah, I'll add that one there because that one's important. So yeah, so Betrayer Matt takes over the main place because there is actually a map. This is the main area. Some of the areas aren't important for TCC. Some are for future, some are for past. Mainly this area is the important area. Like, yeah. So yeah. They all escape into the Hollow Mountain again, and they have to get the shards for the fifth, not the fifth shard, the sixth shard, because the first one was in the Meteor. The second one was in the Tomb. The third one was the Sculpt Tomb. The fourth one was in the Living Tomb. Then the final one was actually in the Interdimensional Rift that they opened in episode 1, but they didn't realise that, so they closed that. But obviously in the finale, they obviously reopened that. So yeah, they also find a tomb in the desert, which is where the one from the Meteor was originally. They also discover, and they do eventually discover where the sixth one is. It is in a place called the Chaos Anchor. However, that's also where Terry opens, not Terry, Betrayer Matt opens a portal, another multiverse portal, and summons Betrayer Barry. So yeah, there's also some other stuff from there. We got the Skulk Creeper. We got Betrayer Matt there. We got a picture of the cavern, or portal to the cavern. Iravoid, Betrayer Matt and stuff. Oh yeah, then, because Kyra's obviously been around this entire time as well, this is where Kyra becomes the Redeemer and breaks Betrayer Prophecy stuff and becomes somewhat good, but still very chaotic for important reasons. Anyway, so then Kyra and Barry defeat Betrayer Matt and Betrayer Barry. However, then somehow Terry returned because this is where we get into a very, very important character. That's the serpent, but this is the original version. But this is Terraflux. The, main, definitely, if I were to put on which one is the most iconic, Terraflux is number 1. There's a bunch of Terraflux. But we'll get into that in a sec, because we've got to get into what's going on. So yeah, basically a bunch of random stuff. They learn about the Betrayer Prophecy. Then the coolest scene ever happens, where firstly they managed to free Terry from Terraflux. And then Kyra, actually no, everyone else has to destroy the shards, which create mini black holes, which obviously isn't too great, but that happens. But Kyra and Terraflux are fighting above a cavern portal, and all the shards are destroyed. There's a bunch of black holes, and basically the only way Kyra can do this is to throw the shard up in the air, destroy the shard with the Betrayer Blade, create a black hole, then suddenly all the black holes appear. Terraflux gets destroyed by a black hole, but then gets ripped apart by the other black holes. Kaboom! Here's another drawing of it. And horse. Anyway, but yeah. So, after that, Kyra falls into the cavern for an eternity, into the endless pitch black void, which I will definitely be making a song of. Anyway. So, then we get into season 4. Where, let me find the drawings. Where are the drawings? Here's the drawing. Well, actually, no. Irrivoid does come back at some point during this. So there's Irrivoid. They're basically, due to the black holes, there's a giant tree now. Yeah, the world's changed a bunch. A bunch of stuff happens. Kyra is completely missing throughout this. But the Skulk comes back. And there's an epic wyvern. Well, yeah, more of a wyvern. Or an amphitheater. So that is the Skulk Hive. And it's epic. And also Lucy gets a full-on dragon form. They have a fight in the cavern. It's epic. I think I have some more drawings. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of drawings in here. The battle, Kyra jumping in the thing, Skulk High. Wait, no, that's. I don't actually know whether that's season 2 or 4. Among Us. Oh yeah, also on the first page that there was, some early drawings of this is the Terraflux, which is a completely different thing. Terraflux. Oh. And then we got some of the meta-human kind of characters, which do have names, but I will get into that in a sec. So you got Monsoon, Arachnid, I think, whose name gets changed to Aranox. We'll get into Terraflux Infinity in a sec. We got some other random ones. That one does have a name, but I forgot it. We'll get into these in a sec. Where's the Skulk Hive? Oh yeah. Oh, there's some more. So got the Tree Person, Blip. Oh yeah, here's another drawing of the Skulk Hive. However, I'll just get it on this page. And again, I'll put that there. Where's the one I'm looking for? On back. Where is it? Okay, well technically that one doesn't exist in this version, but I'll show it anyway, if I can find it. Oh, wait, where in the world is it? Sorry about this. Oh, found it. This one. So, so basically, oh my goodness, I just realized this is an hour. Let's go. Anyway, so, wonder how long this will go on for. Anyway. So, after that, they go on a quest to save Kyra from the cavern, who is now the betrayed. Because there is a ton of Terraflux forms. Let me go find a better image of the betrayed. Where are they? Somewhere around here. Okay, I can't quite find it. Oh well. Anyway, so basically, they save Kyra with the power of friendship, obviously. This is Eternal Fate, who doesn't get included yet. But I'm just showing this here because they would be there anyway. So yeah, then actually we should probably get into a bunch of Terrafluxes because there's a ton. So yeah, this is just a drawing of most of the Terrafluxes that there is, and this is what I can kind of see this because this is where we get into season 6. Which has very important character, Terraflux Infinity, who is an alternate version of Kyra from Reality Zero, the first reality. She kind of destroyed that. And yeah, now she's currently trapped in the void outside of time, space, and reality, which I will get into in a sec. And from that, she's trying to escape, so a bunch of Terrafluxes. So, we've got Event Horizon, the Irrevoid Terraflux, Darkstar, the first Terraflux made, Final Corruption, a reference to the Let's Play world. I need to check some of these names, because I don't remember all of them. Where is it? Divine Dissonance, Twilight Hive, not Sparkle, anyway, Rainbow Terraflux, Regular Terraflux, that's the one from Season 3, Dragon Terraflux, Tsunami, Terraflux form for... They're somewhere in here. This character right here, they'll look a bit different in later versions, but... Oh wait, actually no, I do have one of him. Where is it? I really shouldn't have messed these up. Where is it? Oh yeah. This is the thing from later, but Flood. So yeah, that's Flood, and has the not Chaos form. That's a different thing. Terraflux form, I guess. Tsunami, Terrafim, which is a fish. Protoflux, which is technically not a Terraflux, but is just the base designer for Terraflux. Ravaged Revenants, who is the Terraflux form of the Tomb Prisoner from V0, just not entirely canon to this version, but kind of. Then we got Trinetric Void, triangles. We got this one, who I can never remember the name of. Which is somewhere around here. Wait, I wrote them down somewhere. Where did I write them down? Right. Because I've got another drawing of them all. Well, all the ones that existed at the time. That one is... Because that one I always get mixed with another one. That's Rift Warper, and that's Shade Displacer. I always get them mixed up. Then we got Celestial Prism, who's based off another character called Illumid from another thing. Then we've got one of the best, Fates Eclipse. It's basically just Alicorn Terraflux. Then we got Terrops, which is basically just a Pokemon version of Terraflux. Terrapuddle. OG Terraflux. I think that's all of them on here. Oh, there's a few that are barely visible, which I'll just mention now, that are in another book. We've got Terralux and Double Helios. Oh, also Dragon's Eclipse, which is a fusion of Fate's Eclipse and Dragon's Eclipse. And Fate's Eclipse is kind of named to be similar to Nightmare Moon and Daybreaker, but yeah. Then there is a few other ones, other than Eternal Fate, who is this one. Where is the other ones? There isn't too many more. Right. Okay, it's probably in here somewhere. Oh, yep. There's Terrasite. Parasite Terraflux. Temporal Storm, the Doctor Who one, because since there was an MLP one, I had to do some other random ones. Oh yeah, we can't forget Cosmic Retribution. I know it says Enigmatic Retribution, but you can see slightly who is obviously Undertale based, designed after Ultra Sans. Then we've got, I think, the last two currently, which are Stellar Anomaly and Octane Nexus. And Stellar Anomaly is another thing I'll get into later. This is going to be such a long video. So yeah, then back to season 6. Bunch of stuff happens. They fight the Cavern one last time. They go to the V2.1 universe. They find out about Terraflux's plan to summon every single black hole from every single reality in the multiverse into one singular point and make a giant reality bomb. Which would and wouldn't work for a few reasons I will get into at some point. But they end up defeating Terraflux in an epic battle, which is shown in this drawing here, with Terraflux Infinity and Kyra with wings. I call that the butterfly form. And yeah. However, that's technically not where V2.2 ends, because there's these two things. Nemesis and Starborn, which are spin-offs because I was watching The Flash at this point, the CW one. So yeah, let's just go on to those. So both of these take place like... One sec, let me check the timeline, because I know it's a lot afterwards. So Tcc is there. Wait. Yeah, there. These take place like over 100,000 years after TCC. So, yeah, basically, we'll start with the simplest one. So Starborn takes place in space after the Earth, which has been renamed to Zephox, has been destroyed by this guy right here, and this, which is Darkstar, and then there's Terraswarm. So basically, they're trying to just figure out what to do. They eventually defeat Darkstar somehow. I haven't really written a huge amount. There's some other stuff. Yeah, this is probably the one with the least stuff put into it, other than one. That I still need to... Because, as I said, it's still an ongoing project. I work on a billion things at once, because for some reason that's the only way I can do it. But it also involves some things called the Star Gods, which weren't made until later. However, I will show a few of them. A few of my favorites. So we've got Quaz. Oh, that's the Google Docs. Then we got Quazox. Oh, that's another version of Terrasite. That one. Hyborius. That one. Amercia. Vela. Verdige. There's some other ones, but they're not in that book. So yeah, then there's also a black hole beast or something like that. Reference, let's go. So then we got on to Nemesis. The series is also called Nemesis and focuses on Nemesis, or Darren Peters. I might change that name, but yeah. Basically, this takes place in the void outside of time, space, and reality, which is a very important thing, because basically, when you're erased from reality, you get sent there. So that's what happens to Nemesis, and they're erased by Terraswarm, who is a member of the cult of Terraflux. Obviously worshipping Terraflux, who at this point has been dead for like 100,000 years. Other than Darkstar. Darkstar survived. So yeah, bunch of random stuff happens. Finds out how they've got erased. A bunch of stuff. Targlips, whoever well, and I know I don't know why I'm saying whoever Targlips is. But yeah, then we get into another one of my favourite characters, who is linked to another one of my favourite characters, Void. Where are they? Ixacorex. So yeah. Then in season 4, because that was season 1, 2, and 3, there's stuff with Infinity and stuff. And yeah, there would have been a giant crossover. Let me just check if there's anything else. Because while there's definitely a bunch more stuff to do with V2.2, that's not until later technically. So let me check the timeline. Yeah, so after this, I'll just go through a bunch more of this until I get into stuff. Oh yeah, this is technically. Oh yeah, okay. So after this, so Voidbound Productions came to me on Discord and basically said that we can't do most of this because it's a Minecraft machinima. And I wanted to include dragons and stuff. When there's obviously only really the Ender Dragon and stuff. So yeah. So yeah, that kind of got cancelled for now. And then that's when we get into V2.3, because while I made a lot of bad decisions, there was also bad decisions from everyone here. Because for some reason, not judging, but slightly judging you here, but Voidbound Productions wanted to make Terry from the 1940s and include time travel, which there's not really that much time travel in here, other than really Terraswarm, I guess. But I'll get to that later. So yeah, that happened. Iravoid in this version was a friend of Terry's, also from the 1940s, who, due to strange time travel rules, where if you use bad time travel, it leaves behind a copy in the past and sends a version to the future as well. So yeah, however, for Iravoid / Fatal Error at that time, instead both versions were sent to the future and made to one, hence the glitchiness. So yeah, stuff slightly changed. Some of the episode names, and also this is kind of where another name that comes important later comes in, but we'll get into that in a sec. Not a huge amount more happens in V2.3 because basically, Roddy's decided they were a bit too much and decided to reboot it, like, completely from the start. And that is when, as I said, we get into the 3.1. Which I will try and find the Google Docs for. Which, nothing really much happened in V3.1. The only thing I really remember from it is, for a second, Matt became Matt Faniel III, soon to be King of England, sworn enemy to the evil pigs of the Netherrealm. So yeah, that's really all you really need to know about 3.1. However, literally a week after that version, that V started, one sec. Alright, I'd stopped the recording for a sec then, but I'm back. So yeah, basically, this is in 2024. MTC Productions, I think that's his channel name, came to me and Voidius and offered to help make TCC as a Minecraft machinima, and that led to the 3.2, which I wasn't as involved in this version, because I was in a way kind of doing my own thing in a way, but I did do some stuff in it, but I will give a rundown of what happened in that, if I can find it. Where? Let me go find another drawing. Oh yeah, I'll put this one in, because that's Nemesis and not Nemesis. Darkstar and Terra Swarm, straight up blowing the earth up. Where is it? There it is. So, this one, if you want to watch the first episode of it, it is actually out. We'll get into what actually happened with the series. But it did have a pilot episode on the Voidis Productions channel. If you want to watch that, I have a link to it in my community posts. But basically, to summarize it, this version basically featured mainly Matt, Robin, and Jake. Kyra was also in there as well, and there were a few other characters. But yeah, it started off. Actually, I won't spoil episode 1, because if you want to watch that, you can watch that now. But basically, it includes ghosts and a bunch of supernatural stuff, and was in a way similar to some of the stuff I've talked about before, on a less chaotic scale, but still slightly chaotic, because it's TCC, it has to be chaotic for reasons. Then there's a bunch of stuff with werewolves. Then they meet Kyra. Then they get trapped between 4 points in time, which that one was pretty cool actually. And basically they have to kill this guy at the same time across the 4 points. And they're trying to get all the shards, like before. Then there's Error in Reality, Fatal Error, which obviously great. Fatal Error is great. Where in the world is the drawing? It's somewhere around here. Oh, found it. No, I haven't found it. I thought I found it. Where is it? Oh yeah, I found it. This is a drawing based on that episode. They're in the error void. and there's Blip, and there's Flood, fighting Aerovoid, with a heart thing. Then there's Starless Corruption, which features a Skulk. Matt almost dies. Matt seems to almost die in everyone. There's Rifts Upon the Hollow Mountain, where they go into the cavern, which is different. It's a mountain this time with a multiversal portal. And eventually, Terraflux and stuff come out. At the Battle Terraflux, there's a battle at the main town called Og of the Wheel. Or is it Og of the Wheel? I don't remember. It's something like that. So yeah, Kyra also fakes a death there. And then we get into... Then it kind of gets a bit confusing because there's technically 2 season 2s. One of them is season 3. But I'll just go with the order they were made in. So the original season 2 featured demons, including a character I quite like, that I thought were pretty cool. If I can find him. Yes. Eglysion. Ironically, there's also Alistair here, but let's go. So yeah, basically Eglysion makes a plan to invade the world from the underworld. There were a bunch of random lore stuff. Then I think Lucy dies. Oh yeah, I forgot. In episode 5, there were also a character called I think it was called Victor. And basically, Victor is from that time, but he goes back because the town kind of gets destroyed. So he goes back and to stop that, and they managed to stop Irovoid and Eglysion, because Eglysion and Irovoid were teaming up, because after Irovoid were defeated in the Aerovoid, he went into a phone, and ended up in the underworld, teamed up with Eglysion. They thingied, Victor died, and yeah, Kyra came back for a little bit. Then there was the other version of season 2, which involved an evil mayor, who one thing I'm trying to remember. Again tried to overthrow the town. However, it was different this time because he teamed up with like this god, I think, and with that he made everyone forget about the supernatural, because obviously they were all these, which got a name, which they're called Chaos Spawns, and there's a ton of Chaos Spawns. Chaos Spawns are epic. So after that, I think Terry stops him. There's also the introduction of a very important character who is great. Where is she? Because this is the point where I started watching MLP, and then I got obsessed with that, so I kind of added a bunch of random stuff to do with it. And that is where we get Flicker, who is definitely not just Twilight Sparkle. Anyway, speaking of Twilight Sparkle, anyway, so then after that, not really too much happened, because that there was actually some series planned, because there was a Kyra one set in Kyra's time. Then there was one on this character called what was his name? Tim Constance, I think it was. I think they were going to be kind of like Saul Goodman. And yeah, there were also an overarching plot point about this war between magical creatures. So yeah, let me look. Was there anything else? No. But yeah, basically, it kind of, you know, I'll get this other one. This one's got Fate Cyclops. Fate Cyclops epic. After that, yeah, there were also Suns, which was kind of like, Arc from the early versions in a way. Which I didn't mention Arc. I'll get into Arc in a sec. But yeah, it kind of just fizzled out. And I don't know if the series is coming back. Well, I know V3.2 is cancelled, unfortunately. But the pilot is there if you want to watch it. There might be something in the future, but I'm not entirely sure on that. So yeah, I'm currently the only one doing anything with this. Which I kind of started doing after V2.3, because as much as I really want TCC to be a thing, I obviously do, I also like to add my own spin to things. So you've got the other versions, and then you've got my version, basically. So, chaos, let's go. Anyway, speaking of chaos, we could get back to. I'm trying to think where to go next, because there's a ton of stuff. I'm just gonna sort everything out quickly. Right. So, you know, let's oh yeah, actually. Oh no, you know what, no, I'll mention that in a sec. But firstly, there was the Chaos Realms. That was a thing that technically started a bit after V2 started. And in the Chaos Realms, there was the Chaos Gods, which are Infinity, Terraflux Infinity, Insanity, who I'm trying to find a drawing of. Who, Insanity, if you've seen my channel slightly, well, not slightly, you'd probably specific, but the main thing on my channel, other than the Dynamon stuff, you might recognize the name, you might not. If I can find him, boom, Insanity, the Chaos God of Insanity. Terraflux is the Chaos God of Fate. And then you have Divinity. I know it says Arcturdium there, but yeah, this is Divinity, the Chaos God of Power. And basically, in the Chaos Realms, that's where we also run into Aaron, who I will get into in a sec. One sec, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Never mind. But basically, so yeah, basically after during and before V2.2, there were a bunch of other random stuff I added, like the overpowered forms of the characters. This is Neria, the overpowered form of Kyra, who's epic and has a giant sword. What else is there? Ah yes, the ones from before. These are from the what's it called? The Violet Side of Time, Space and Reality. We got Ekron, three-headed, Zeros, Selenor, Kragos, and Iravoid. What else is there? Chaos forms. That's something more recent, but this is the chaos form of Terraswarm, Terravoid. There's a ton of Terraswarms, including we haven't really gotten into this, but this is Exoterra Nihilith here. Which I will get into in a sec. Because, you know what, I may as well start talking about that. Oh wait, actually, I'll go in order of stuff that... Yeah. So, also, the Skulk got renamed to the Starlight Infection, which based off the Starless Infection, not Starlight Glimmer. However, there is also the Twilight Abyss, which is definitely just, yeah. So yeah, then we get into Tcc the Next Generation, featuring Flicker, who is she did appear in the 2.3. However, she's a lot more important in Tcc the Next Generation. Here are just some drawings. Yeah, we got season 3, season 5, season 7. I did 10. Well, I'm currently working on that. But yeah, basically, she's part unicorn, because why not? I'll put that one there. And also has something called the Dragon Force, which is what Lucy had. So she's also part dragon, so, which means since she's part dragon and part unicorn, she becomes the Alethea. Alicorn Dragon. Well, Alicorn Amphithea. Bit of Aleph Noel in there, because that's a form of infinity. And Terraflux Infinity. There's also... what else is there? Oh, one thing that definitely needs showing from the Next Generation that came from MLP, well, is inspired by it, is, where is it? Somewhere here. No, what? I don't want to see Mario's Madness. Where is it? Ah, yes. The Dayoon. The nuclear horses. Well, the nuclear unicorns. That is Exonihilith. The one I showed you before were Exoterra Nihilith. Where's the drawing? There's another drawing. Yeah. So this is Zyronoff. That's a tree. And these are Dayoon. And they're epic. There was also other things such as the Night Forge. Which, let me try and find that. Oh yeah, which had giant things, such as Tartarix, who does also have a chaos form. Tartarix. Then in season 3, there was some stuff with dragons, such as Exophane, the Dragon Betrayer. And then there is there was some stuff with some other stuff, such as the Fallen Sea. There's the Phainite, which only came up with very recently. Is one of the is Phainite. There's also some other ones. including Yennefer, that one, Gia, Zero, and the one where I just decided to give a bunch of overpowered stuff to one, Absolution, with an exclamation mark. What other ones are there? There's some other ones. There's that one. Some other ones there. Runes. Oh yeah, we got Fey Knight Law here. Basically, they just wanted power, so they used the runes, turned into that. And yeah, there's a bunch of different runes. And basically how this works is, because I also had souls at this point, and basically you can use the runes to basically open up your soul in order to absorb different energies. So there's the most obvious one is chaos. There's also magic. There's the ones with the shards, terraflux, the star gods, and dragons. There's also a bunch of other stuff, because where is it? This one here, which I showed at the start, which has a ton of stuff in it. I will go through everything. So we've got Kyra. I don't remember whether this is Reality 6 or Reality 0 Kyra. In the middle with the Terraflux Eye, Cavern, and then we get into the different shards. So we've got, I'm trying to remember the colours of them. I don't remember. Anyway, so we've got all the shards. So we got magic with characters such as the Skulk Hive. Oh, that's another character I haven't really gotten too much into. Well, I haven't really mentioned. Who's also in Tcc the Next Generation.
Hello.
Hello. And then where is it? Yes. This one here, who is I don't actually remember the name. I'm gonna have to check that. Arafim, who is based off a Minecraft skin I have. So yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, I'll go through this. So yeah, then there's Zyronoff there. Then there is a Void. So we got Terra Swarm, Quazox, Selenor, Kragos, Ekron, Zeros. Then we've got Power. So we got Betrayer Mat, Exophane, Nightmare Neria, which is a form of Neria / Kyra. We've got the Betrayer Blade there. Then we've got Fate. So we've got regular Terraflux, Eternal Fate, and Darkstar. And then we got Life. So we got Lucy in the Dragon form, regular Neria, and Flicker. And then we've got Destruction. So we've got the Daeun. One I haven't gone into, which I will find a better drawing of, which is I've forgotten his name. It is Avaliathan, the ruler of dragons. Then we got Iravoid there, Reverie, the Never Wretched, and then on the outside we've got a few verses. That is what the V stands for, because one important thing that was made during this time, that was come up with at this time, was the verses. And Eternal Infinity, the Verse Watcher. I will get into Eternal Infinity in a sec. But all you really need to know is all the different verses I've worn about are all in these verse globes. There's a ton of verse globes. Main ones obviously being 0, 1, 2, and 3, but there's also a few more. But yeah, obviously the points are just in the verses that I mentioned, and I will definitely make certain videos about certain things in this because I could definitely talk for hours. I'm pretty sure I'm at 2 hours now, maybe. So yeah, and that is kind of why the final reality, well, or the last reality that Infinity were planning on doing wouldn't really work too well, because basically what would actually happen, because basically there's obviously the void outside of time, space, and reality is technically a layer of reality above the main reality in V2. I'm just on about V2 right now because most of this is in V2. Where basically, if the final reality, there's two ways the final reality could happen, which is, firstly, that it happens in regular reality, where if it went off, it would basically destroy everything and cause the void outside of time, space, and reality to collapse in on rest of reality, basically destroying everything, but not damaging the verse globe. However, if it was done in the void outside of time, space, and reality, it would obviously destroy the void outside of time, space, and reality, and maybe the rest of reality, I don't know. However, it would be able to crack the verse globe. It wouldn't be able to destroy it. That would take a lot more. But yeah. So yeah, anyway, Avaliathon. Where's Avaliathon? Ah, yes. This were a final page for a book, so there were obviously a bunch of stuff, but this is Avaliathon. So yeah, then there's some other stuff happens. Terror Swarm appears, and then there's Terror Void. I think Lucy actually dies in this because Lucy and the rest are also in here in overpowered forms. Flicker uses the power of friendship to redeem an evil version of herself from another reality. Then everyone teams up, and then obviously Flicker friendship is magics them all. So yeah. Then after the Next Generation, there is Arc, which is something I've only slightly mentioned, and only name dropped once. However, in basically Arc is like secret government thing, and basically they're responsible for doing some stuff a 1,000 years ago during Kyra's time, where basically they what did they do? Yeah, they basically make people forget about all the ancient people and hide the betrayal prophecy, which Kyra did. And in the present, there's Charles Cliveson, who I mentioned before. However, he also has to deal with Yeris, the Emperor of Arc, who was the one who did that 1,000 years ago, Chaosborn stuff, so somehow still alive. And yeah, not a huge amount on there, but yeah. Then there's Kyra, the other Kyra series, where basically just going through Kyra collecting the shards with friends, Arc getting stronger, destroying the village, then Kyra doing the betrayal prophecy, and all the other stuff happening. Tales from Another Reality. That is is there another drawing I can put on? I'll go again. I'll go put an area there. Yeah, Tales from Another Reality, that's basically just a what if. Well, there's a ton of what ifs that I will get into at another point. Voidbound, that takes place very early on in the timeline. In the Void Side of Time, Space and Reality, mainly focuses on Ekron, Zeros, Selenor, Kragos, and Iravoid. When they first enter the Void Side of Time, Space and Reality at the start of reality. Yeah, then we've got. Okay, there's also Tcc Chaos Hunters, but nothing really happens with that. And then we get on to Tcc the finale, which before I talk about, I have to mention Eevee, or Quest for the Golden Magikarp, the main series on my channel, which I recently ended, and Eevee doesn't seem to want to stand up. There's also Mega Gengar. Now, I mean, I may as well do lore dumps because if you're watching this far, you clearly want to listen to the lore dumps since you're 2 hours in. But basically, Quest for the Golden Magikarp is semi-canon, as shown by the video I put out in December, I think it was, which does feature Eevee, who is technically not named Eevee, because as I said in the video, that was all just a little because it were all a tale by Eevee, so not everything in it is correct. Some things did actually happen, including the loop. And this is where we get into the golden one. Ignore that one. That one's probably not canon. Which is where we get into Echinix, aka Eevee. This unnamed second one, which is Mega Gengar. Eternal Infinity. Not Rainbow Dash. Chaos Incarnate, the 6th one. Aaron, the 5th one. And Entropeth, who I do have an unfinished drawing of. As I said, it's unfinished though. I don't know which way is the right way up. I think it's this way. So yeah. Basically, at the start of reality, there was nothing. And from that nothing, a being willed itself into existence. The first golden one, Entropeth. It appeared in the nothing and awakened the no thing, which is another new thing, which basically the nothing gained sentience, and was defeated by the golden one and sent to the furthest reaches of everything. And don't come back until after important events, so you don't need to worry about that too much. And I just remembered, completely unrelated to what I was on about. Oh yeah, there's also the 6th one's overpowered form, the Next Existence, and also there's the Lycarfoon. The Lycarfoon is epic. It's basically a werewolf, Daun. Heal down, because that happened. So yeah. Anyway, so lore dumping time. So the first golden one was obviously, as we all know, as if you watch the series, you'll know the first golden one was killed by the second golden one. The first golden one then became the second golden one, who killed. Well, actually, no. If we're going in timeline order, the first golden one appeared. Then, the second golden... Wait. I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah, okay, so the first golden one appeared, then the second golden one appeared. Then the third golden one appeared. Wait, no. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so the first golden one, yeah, definitely appeared first. Then it was the second golden one who trapped the third golden one in a time loop. The second golden one then killed the first golden one. Then the third golden one obviously went through the loop and all that. Then the third golden one killed the second golden one, who became the third golden one, who then spoilers happen, which I won't mention, but but after certain things, the third golden one dies and becomes the fourth golden one, Eternal Infinity, who gets back memories about the no thing and decides, good idea. So then they subjugate all of reality and trap in the verse globes. There's the fifth golden one, who's Aaron, who's in the Chaos Realms, who's killed by the fourth one. Then the sixth one appears somewhere. Then at the end of all reality, no, wait. Basically, everyone teams up, do a magic friendship blast, destroy the verse globe. They all team up with the sixth golden one, who they all defeat Eternal Infinity. However, he's like, if you can't have it, I can't have it. If I can't have it, you can't have it. And then summons every single black hole in every single multiverse, in every single reality, everything into one singular point, making a giant universe bomb. And then afterwards, but then that's stopped by the sixth golden one, who gets the cool epic form, and boom, don't know whether they survive. They might not. Who knows? Then the happy ever after. However, there's the no thing. But yeah. So I think that is mostly everything from TCC, other than Tales of the Golden One, which I'll get to eventually. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Have a chaotic one.